good afternoon. Merry Christmas and welcome to Business This Week on ITV. I am Blessing Aichi. This is a Christmas special edition. Oh, yes, because Christmas is a day where you don't need too much of talking, you need too much of merriment. So we're going to go straight to the point. I have a guest you will get to meet pretty soon, and we'll be looking at the border reopening and other issues emanating from it. Please stay tuned.
Advice to the public on the coronavirus. The World Health Organization, WHO, recommends you take the following measures. Know that most people who become infected experience mild illness and recover, but it can be more severe for others. Take care of your health and protect others by doing the following.
Regularly and thoroughly clean your hands with an alcohol-based hand sanitizer or wash them with soap and water. Washing your hands with soap and water or using alcohol-based hand sanitizer kills viruses that may be on your hands.
Maintain at least 1 meter, which is 3 feet distance between yourself and anyone who is coughing or sneezing.
Hands touch many surfaces and can pick up viruses. Once contaminated, hands can transfer the virus to your eyes, nose, or mouth. From there, the virus can enter your body and can make you sick.
Make sure you and the people around you follow good respiratory hygiene. This means covering your mouth and nose with your bent elbow or tissue when you cough or sneeze. Then dispose of the tissue immediately.
Stay home if you feel unwell. If you have a fever, cough, and difficulty breathing, seek medical attention and call in advance. Calling in advance will allow your healthcare provider to quickly direct you to the right health facility. If you develop fever, cough, and difficulty breathing, seek medical advice promptly, as this may be due to a respiratory infection or other serious condition.
Be informed.
Be prepared.
Be smart.
Be safe.
Be ready to fight COVID-19.
This message is brought to you courtesy Independent Television and Radio.
Thank you for staying. I have a guest, and it is Dr. Usaze Iyuha, an economist. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Today we'll be looking at border reopening. But Dr. Usaze, I must thank you especially for taking time off the Christmas rice and chicken to come join me on the show today.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Blessing.
Merry Christmas to
Christmas
you too.
Viewers.
All right. Border reopening, it seemed first like something that would never happen when Nigerians got to hear President Buhari say borders will be reopened soon. And then it really happened. The borders are opened. But it's common with mixed reactions as Nigerians got to know that there is still ban on deportation of rice and poultry products.
Yeah. The border reopening came, as you said, with mixed reactions. But the question is, what has the border reopening been able to achieve for the country so far? Because initially, we could even question what the essence of closing the border in the first place was on August 20th, 2019. In the first place, okay, the government gave us their reasons that there was smuggling and smuggling of food items and so on. But that also calls to question the fact that it's an admittance to the fact that the borders are porous. And I think taxpayers' money is used in paying people to take care of the borders, to man the borders, customs officers, immigration officers, and so on. So, and you know, the Nigerian government so far, not just this administration, has always sought an escapist policy. Instead of addressing issues, we would have expected that there should have been a tighter way, introduce technology to the borders, you know, so that you can track. That's why in developed countries, you can break traffic light, not because they are not criminals there, but you can't break it because, you know, immediately you get to wherever you are going, they are coming to serve you papers. So initially, there was no need for the border closure, but the excuse or the reason they gave was to encourage local production. But it's also neither here nor there, because the farmers themselves had very little time to prepare, because it didn't look like an intentional policy. An intentional policy to encourage local production will mean that you are probably, like you still have stones in our local rice, so you are probably getting the stoning machines, sieving machines, and other high technology equipment that they could use in ensuring that these products are up to standard. They should have been somewhere so that immediately you are closing the border, you are distributing these machines to the farmers, probably in every ward or in every local government, so that they use, because I was watching a video where you see them sealing bag of rice with hand sealers.
So much manual labor.
Exactly. So before you watch the Thais in Thailand when they are sealing their rice, it's on a tray. You just see the rice as it's dropping is sealed. So before you use your hand sealer to seal one, the high technology equipment has sealed like 100. So the farmers didn't even have enough time to react to this. So I cannot see how advantageous the closing of borders was to Nigeria, because first of all, it aggravated the inflationary situations. And you look at inflation, November figure of 14.89, food inflation alone contributed to about 18%. So that shows that food items, the staple foods, rice, has increased. Before the border closure, rice was about 8,000 or so. It's about 20-something thousand now, because another reason is, in economics, basic economics, you don't ban items that, as a country, you are not able to produce sufficiently. You ban only items that you can produce sufficiently, but there is a preference for foreign goods. But in this case, we were not able to sufficiently provide for ourselves, then you now brought the ban. So automatically what it causes is an increase in the price of the local product, which is not able to meet the needs. Then it only exacerbates the smuggling that you are trying to address, because we still have foreign rice in the market. It hasn't stopped it. So it has now only increased the per capita cost of the item. Then the money or duties they're supposed to pay is now going to private pockets, because they are actually paying people to smuggle this rice and so on. So I cannot see how it benefited the country, because as I said, inflation increased. There's prices of staple items. Then even those who were making a livelihood from trading across the border, you see, the government gave concession to Dangote. It shows that some people's livelihood lives on the border. They get raw materials across the border and export their goods. So you have people who were going to Benin, Ghana to trade, and now they are jobless. The government is not also providing jobs. So I don't know how much benefit it benefited. And in any case, sorry, Nigeria just rectified the African Continental Free Trade Agreement.
Yes.
They have been reluctant to do, but they just did some couple of months ago. So it was only logical. It would be antithetical to be signing a free trade agreement and you are closing your borders. So it was only expected that they do that. But the gains of closing the border for 16 months, I think it even added, it did more harm than good for me.
Okay. We'll return to the African Free Continental Trade Agreement, but still on the border reopening. I guess some Nigerians were disappointed getting to know that they cannot import rice, they cannot import poultry product. Today is Christmas. Now, the border was opened about a week or a little over a week before Christmas Day. So the hope was when the borders are reopened, there will be free importation of rice that may even crash the price of rice, a bag of rice in the market. And so a lot of Nigerians will be able to afford rice, not just being a staple food, but being that with which Christmas is mostly celebrated in homes. Now, that hope was dashed when they were made to know that they're still banned on importation of rice and poultry. You just said that we do not have sufficiency in rice production. Reopening the border and still maintaining the ban on rice and poultry products, how's that working?
Yeah. I don't know which advice they relied on in still keeping rice and the poultry items banned. I don't know the advice, but I'm thinking for them that probably they feel they still have not, the government still feels that it hasn't achieved its target, or hasn't achieved enough in ensuring local sufficiency of production of rice. I still think they feel that the gains have not been achieved completely, because I was watching the farmers on one of the national television complaining that they have invested so much already in seedlings and so on. So reopening the border would truncate whatever investment they have put in. So I think that's the thinking. But as I said, I really don't know where their advice is coming from, because this is a country that is undergoing hyperinflation. So we would have expected that the staple foods, right, even this Christmas period, poultry are
highly
essential
consumed
now. So I would have expected that it's time for them to address the inflationary situation that we are going through. Bag of rice can come down to as low as 10,000–15,000, because we shouldn't be afraid of competition in the first place. You're only afraid of competition if you are not producing efficiently. If you are producing efficiently, your cost of production is low. If I'm producing at 10 naira, then I can sell at 20 naira comfortably. But because I'm using diesel to power all my equipment, I'm probably putting about 20,000 naira in cost of production, and I have to sell at 14 naira. Why a company who produces in China with cheap public power will produce at probably 10 naira or so and sell at 20 naira, lower them. So when the cost of production is high and productivity level is low because of inadequate technology that we are using in our farm, and in our farmers are using low technology and very low productivity yield seedlings, then we would always be afraid of competition. But if not, I don't think the competition from other countries should be a problem. Yeah, but in any case, as I said, I think they are feeling, the thought is that the gains from the farmers encouraging local production has not been achieved fully. So they probably want to give some money so that the investments that were put through the Anchor Borrower program and so on will probably manifest.
Okay, now let's get back to the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. There's been the suspension of issuance of license. Now, would there be a takeoff of operations when licenses have been suspended, issuance of licenses suspended?
Yeah, for the free trade zones, yeah. In Nigeria, I think that's what we call our export processing zones, but I don't think it's connected to the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. The export processing zones pause on issuance of license I think is completely different from this case, because the government noticed, okay, why has the focus been on these free trade zones? Sometime in the 1990s, we know the Asian Tigers, Asian 4, they introduced these export processing zones, which they called free trade zones. But in developing countries, our own variant is the export processing zones. The essence was to encourage foreign direct investment into a country. So Nigeria adopted it in 1991. They started all of them. They gave licenses for about 34 export processing zones, and I think just only 12 are functional now. So the essence is this: the government designates a particular area, geographical area, where you have companies who come to that area, they register and they come and operate in that area, and the essence is to produce for exports solely. So you are exporting and yielding foreign exchange. So I think that's where the focus is on now. The government is just like when someone is broke, you start searching all your pockets, looking for money that you probably forgot in your pocket. So the government needs forex now. So these export processing zones would have been, if they were functioning at optimal level, should have been an important source of forex for the country. But so far, I think the government, the Minister of Trade and Industry was explaining that the whole pause on issuance of license is to evaluate the performance of the export processing zone so far, to see why performance has been low, with the aim of providing recommendations on repositioning these export processing zones. Because so far there have been complaints about, the essence in the first place was that these companies should come here to those export processing zones and produce at a very cheap. In fact, there are some, let me explain some very relaxed conditions on them. First, as a foreign company, the company can be owned fully by a foreign company. You can employ complete foreigners, 100%. You can, for the first 10 years that a company operates in that area, there's not supposed to be strike, no worker strike, no strike. Then,
regardless of the working condition.
Of the working condition. You can't go on strike. Then they can repatriate their entire capital.
Back to
and
base.
Any capital appreciation back to their country.
Wow.
Profits, dividends back to their country. Then in that zone, there's supposed to be reduced tax, in fact, zero tax, zero customs duty, zero export duty, zero import duties, And they can trade with foreign currency, as against the CBN Act that says you must trade in Nigeria, but in those zones, they can trade with their foreign currency.
Sorry to cut in. Then what is the benefit if all of these conditions apply?
Yeah, the benefit is simple, to encourage foreign direct investment.
Okay.
So that you come, in fact, also a very important one is that there should be power, infrastructure. Then it's usually close to a seaport. Most times it's just opposite a seaport or close to airport. The essence is to increase foreign direct investment, which will boost economic activity and provide employment and ultimately increase exports and generate forex. That's the whole essence. But we now found out that the minister must have found out that this has not been working. Throughout, I think since 1991 when the act was passed, it's just about 340 licensed export processing operators that has been given in the whole country. So there have been problems of probably there is low information as to the existence of that opportunity even. But I know there are some of us who have not even known anything about export processing. We just hear it, but what the benefits that accrue is not there. We don't know it. So I think the National Orientation Agency is not doing enough to inform Nigerians about it. Then they also found out that power also has also not been, the constant power that was promised is not there. Bad roads also is not there. Then there was corruption allegations. The law says that the Export Processing Act says that when a company indicates interest, it applies. And within 5 working days, they should get a response from the Nigeria Export Processing Zone Authority, telling them, informing them of whether they've been successful or not. And immediately after 5 working days, they have to allot their space where they build their factories. And in fact, throughout the period they are building, there should be no rent. But there have been accusations that 3 months they don't get their licenses, which is supposed to be for 5 working days. Bottlenecks, which is one of the reasons that the export. So, you know, the minister, I think there have been many allegations, corruptions. NEBSA and oil and gas processing zones have been having litigations with each other. So I think that's the reason for it's something like an investigation or evaluation of why performance has been poor. So, and you know, usually when investigations are going on, status quo, you take everything back to status quo. No registration of new companies with the aim of bringing recommendations to reposition. So that because when this export process, when the initiative is very nice, when it works, I think the country will be better for it. Okay.
Now, we're back to the border issue. The communities around the borders were rejoicing at the reopening. It means that economic activities will bounce back. But we've always had this problem of smuggling, which was one of the reasons why the government had to close the borders, because it's, the federal government said banned items, even weapons, were smuggled into the country through the land borders. Are we not going to have more of that with the borders reopening, especially at a time where solid mineral is being tapped in the northern region and it's been smuggled as well? Would that not widen the markets?
Yeah. That's right. That's why I questioned initially the whole objective of closing the border in the first place, because I don't know what has changed. They might know, but from my own view, my own narrow view, I don't know if anything has changed. But the government might know if something has changed, because
maybe security has
been... Yes. The government should know that. But if still nothing has been done, then it's back to ground zero. You will expect the people around the border to be happy, because statistics has it that Thailand rice, that Benin Republic is the highest importer of the Thailands, their rice, in the whole world. Even China, with over 1 billion population, they don't import as much as Benin Republic. And Benin Republic just has 12 million population. Even our neighboring countries, Togo is about 7.9 million, and Burkina Faso about 19.9. So it shows that they are importing so much. They are not the ones consuming it.
Importing
it's just like a transport. Exactly. So they are bringing it. So, and Nigeria has not also witnessed an increase in its import figures. So it shows that there's a lot of smuggling going on, and these people are the ones benefiting. So what can you do about it? It's simple. The Immigration Service has said that we have about 1,400 illegal borders. So how do you man these borders? They say they are shortage of personnel, but I think beyond the shortage of personnel, there is so much underground work going, corruption going. But I think the best way to deal with corruption, and that's why the whites have been ahead of, is technology. You don't have to start standing by a traffic light or standing by the gate. As we talked about, trackers. You know, initially that was, sorry for going, initially the idea why government was reducing subsidy was because they accused the fuel tankers of buying fuel in Nigeria at probably 150 from the depot and going to sell in Benin, because Benin, their petrol station, they sell petrol times 2 the price in Nigeria. So the tanker driver would think it wiser than coming to sell his fuel at 145 naira in Nigeria when he can sell at 300 in Benin. So they go along these borders to neighboring countries. So technology is the way to go. With technology, you can track each tanker, track each smuggler, and just go and pick him wherever he is, because you have CCTV cameras and trackers. But I don't know why the Nigerian government has still refused to embrace technology. I don't know. Even the customs still today, the country with so much wealth, so much resources, does not have a single scanner in the customs service. So I don't know. But technology has to be the way to go. Now, if not, we would be back to square one again.
Okay, avoiding getting back to square one and embracing technology, which is more like a long-term thing, because it's going to also be capital intensive, so it's not going to be immediate. In the immediate time, what can be done to ensure that now the borders are reopened, we don't get to see much of the negative things that government was saying that made it close the border, so that we don't have a repeat of the border closure? Yeah,
the government, basically the security architecture has got to be strengthened. Whatever reason is being given for the looseness at the border, I think should be addressed. If the staff has to be motivated, probably that would go some way, but they have to address the security at the border. That's just the baseline. Yeah, then the incentive for smuggling should also be addressed, which is local production, because we are not producing efficiently. That's why smuggled items are still very attractive. So there should be the power situation should be addressed, so that we are not buying phones or whatever commodity are coming across the border. The attraction is not there. Also, the rice producers and other farmers, security is a problem. They can't even go to their farms. Technology should also be improved. The whole essence is this, so that when we are producing efficiently, we would have these things to buy cheap, so that the incentive that we get from smuggling is also reduced.
Okay.
Yeah, because if I'm buying rice at 8,000 naira, I won't go and buy rice that is coming from the border if it's selling at the same 8,000 naira. So productivity should be improved, efficient production, and cost of production should be reduced.
Okay. Yeah. All right, let's move away from border issue, but this is something that has to do with the future of Nigerians. Now, the World Bank projected that in 2022, that 11 million more Nigerians will slide into poverty, and has also approved $1.5 billion for Nigeria to reduce poverty. How do you see this helping or preventing that prophecy from coming to pass? What should this money be used for?
Yeah, basically, the money should be spent on, should be used for the right reasons.
Some persons have said that the social empowerment schemes are the better way to lift people out of poverty. Do you agree?
Yeah, security, that's social security services. Yeah, but I still have a problem with the honesty of the authorities who will be saddled with distributing or putting into use this money. But if it's used for the right reasons, the social programs that have been set up, Anchor Borrower programs, farmer money, and so on, if it's used for the right reason, we expect that it will reduce or ameliorate the poverty level that we find. But we cannot also look beyond what has just happened. The NSAS protest showed that most of the items that were supplied, in fact, those rice and so on that were smuggled, that were taken from the warehouses, were not provided by government or by CACOVID, who were private entrepreneurs, just like what World Bank is doing now. You know, so it's at the end of the day, we noticed that it didn't get to the target. It was just kept in some warehouses. So if the government so far has not proved to be sincere in distributing these palliatives or whatever has come from. This is the third tranche that I think is coming from World Bank since this COVID-19. So if it's used for the right purpose, we would expect that the existing there's no need starting a new one. The existing social programs should be channeled into it, and hopefully it would go some way. Hopefully.
Okay, hopefully it'll go somewhere. All right, I told you earlier, today it is a Christmas special. Let's talk so that you can get back to your merriment. I know that in most homes right now, the cutleries are clicking and,
And the wine bottles.
the wine bottles and everything. Yeah, it is Christmas. We've got to enjoy all of it. But quickly, before we wrap up, it was noticed that the prices of items, food items especially, skyrocketed this Christmas. Usually before Christmas, maybe even a week two at most, you get to see the frenzy in the atmosphere. That was really, really absent this year. Some have blamed it on COVID-19 pandemic. Some have blamed it on the NSAS. But we're looking forward to another year, because counting from now, we're already looking forward to Christmas 2021. What should we do to ensure that at the end of the year, Nigerians look forward to the Yuletide, there's this merriment across board?
Yes, the absence of merriment, of course, is due to the inflationary situation in the economy. Prices have increased. Yeah, COVID-19 has been part of it. The border closure has been part of it. The fall in oil prices has been part of it. And the failure to plan when during the rainy day, when oil was selling at $100, $140 per barrel, is also part of it. So it has come to haunt us now. There's really nothing that can be done in the short term because the government is broke, to be very sincere. Oil prices is down. They are borrowing money everywhere. So inflation figures are increasing. By January, it's expected that it will be about 15 point something. So Nigerians just have to bear whatever situation that we find ourselves and hope that we would have oil prices will increase again and the economy will bounce back.
Okay, and then we'll have much excitement as Christmas, business activities, recording, a lot of income generation through sales and rendering of services.
Exactly.
Okay, that's our hope. That's our hope that by this time next year, it will be a change of story for all businesses in Nigeria and a better economy. Thank you, Dr. Sazayua, for coming. Let me allow you get back to your Christmas celebration.
Thank you so much, and you too.
All right, I'm Blessing Aichi. Enjoy your Christmas.